6 months passed before Taemin fully recovered. The damage from anchoring the temporal loop had been severe. His brain had formed new neural pathways, ones that should not exist in human biology. He was forever changed, seeing the universe in ways no unmodified human could understand. But he was alive, and he was still himself. Eternal Witness had suffered too. Decades of operational life had been burned away in the fight against the Voidborn. Systems needed repair. Organic processors required regeneration. Lyris worked constantly to heal herself, but it would take years to return to full capability. They did not return to Survey Corps territory immediately. Instead, they traveled to the edges of known space. Taemin needed time to think, to understand what he had become and what he would do next. Hana and Daewon stayed with him. They had become his crew, his family. Hana spent her days learning architect technology, translating databases, unlocking secrets that could change humanity forever. Daewon trained in the ship's simulators, learning to fight threats that conventional soldiers could never face. "We saved the galaxy," Hana said one day. They were eating a meal in what served as Eternal Witness's common room. "No one even knows. No one will thank us. That's okay," Taemin replied. "Captain Velmore saved 17 species. None of them knew his name either. That's not why he did it." Finally, they returned to human space. They chose a remote colony called New Haven, far from Earth and Survey Corps headquarters. Taemin sent a message ahead, broadcasting to all human worlds. He told them everything. About the architects, about the Voidborn, about what he had found and what he had done. The response was immediate and divided. Some called him a hero. Others called him a traitor. The Survey Corps issued a warrant for his arrest. The Terran Council demanded he surrender the ship for study. Religious groups claimed the architects were angels or demons, depending on their theology. Everyone had an opinion. Commander Jae-sung came personally with a fleet. 20 warships surrounded New Haven. He demanded Taemin surrender. Taemin stood on Eternal Witness's bridge, looking at the fleet on his view screens. Lyris was ready to fight if necessary. Through their bond, he could feel her determination. She would protect him even against his own species. "Don't," Taemin said softly. "These are my people. I won't fight them." Instead, he broadcast a message to all the ships, to Commander Jae-sung, to everyone listening across human space. 6 months ago, I bonded with this ship because she was dying and I could save her. I learned about a threat that most humans don't know exists. The Voidborn are real. They destroyed a civilization millions of years ahead of us, and they're still out there somewhere in the dark. He paused, choosing his words carefully. Captain Velmore sacrificed himself to stop one of them. I finished his mission. I trapped that entity forever. But there may be more. Humanity needs to be ready. We need to understand what the architects knew. We need ships like Eternal Witness. We need people willing to stand against extinction-level threats. Commander Jae-sung's face appeared on the main view screen. He looked older than Taemin remembered. Tired. "You violated regulations. You stole xenotechnology. You abandoned your post." "I saved billions of lives," Taemin replied simply. "I did what needed to be done. And I'll keep doing it. You can arrest me. You can try to take Lyris by force. But that won't change what's out there. It won't prepare humanity for what's coming." Jae-sung was quiet for a long time. Finally, he said, "The Terran Council has reviewed your mission logs. They've analyzed the data you provided. They don't know what to do with you. Then let me offer a solution. Grant me autonomy. Let me continue the architect mission. I'll find other ships like Eternal Witness. I'll train people to bond with them. We'll create a new defense force, one dedicated to protecting humanity from threats like the Voidborn. You're asking to operate outside Council authority. I'm asking to do what needs to be done. The bureaucracy can't handle this. The military can't fight enemies that exist outside normal reality. But I can. We can." More silence. Taemin waited. He would not back down. He had seen too much, lost too much humanity already. If the Terran Council wanted to stop him, they would have to destroy him. Finally, Jae-sung nodded slowly. "The Council has authorized me to offer you a compromise. You will not be arrested. You will operate with limited autonomy. But you must register any architect vessels you find. You must share your discoveries. And you will accept Council oversight even if loosely. It was not perfect, but it was enough." Taemin accepted. The fleet withdrew. Taemin became something new in human society. Not quite military, not quite civilian. an independent operator with a mission that transcended normal jurisdiction. Some people called him the last architect, though he was human. Others simply called him the captain. He began recruiting. He looked for people like himself, explorers, scientists, dreamers who wanted something more than the safe, predictable life humanity offered. He found young me, a quantum physicist who understood space-time the way artists understood color. He found Taiyang, a linguist who could hear patterns in alien languages that others missed. Together they searched for other architect ships. Lyris helped, accessing ancient databases, following coordinates that Captain Velmore had recorded millennia ago. They found ships in the deep dark between stars. They found them buried on dead worlds. They found them waiting, just as Lyris had waited. Each ship had an AI like Lyris. Each one had been loyal to its captain until the end. Each one was dying slowly, waiting for someone to bond with them. Taman helped them find new captains. He taught humans how to bond, how to accept the change, how to remain themselves while becoming something more. It took 5 years, but eventually, they had 12 ships. 12 human captains bonded to 12 ancient vessels. They called themselves the Inheritors. They continued the mission the architects had started countless ages ago. They explored. They protected. When young civilizations faced extinction, the Inheritors intervened. When natural disasters threatened inhabited worlds, they used reality anchors to prevent them. When pirates or slavers preyed on the weak, they stopped them with weapons designed to fight gods. Humanity changed too. Knowing that the Voidborn existed, that threats beyond imagination lurked in the dark, changed how humans saw the universe. They became more careful, more respectful of the unknown, and more determined to survive. Taemin stood on the bridge of eternal witness 7 years after he had first stepped into a moss-covered ship in a jungle far away. He was 39 years old now, though he looked younger. The bonding had done something to his aging process. He might live for centuries. He did not know. "Captain," Lyris said, her voice warm in his mind, "we have detected another dormant architect vessel. Coordinates are 3 systems away. Should we investigate?" Taemin smiled. "Yes, let's go meet them." Around him, his crew moved with practiced efficiency. Hana had become his first officer, managing systems and coordinating with other inheritor ships. Daewon had trained a security force that could handle threats across a dozen worlds. Young Mi had unlocked secrets of quantum mechanics that pushed human science forward by decades. Taiyang had deciphered architect records that revealed new civilizations, new mysteries, new wonders. They were more than human now, all of them, changed by their exposure to ancient technology and alien ways of thinking, but they were still themselves, still human where it mattered. In their stubbornness, their curiosity, their refusal to give up even when the universe itself seemed hostile to life. As Eternal Witness jumped to the next system, Taemin thought about Captain Velmore. The architect had died 12,000 years ago, but his legacy continued. Through Lyris, through Taemin, through every ship and captain that carried on the mission. "Lyris," Taemin said softly, "do you think Captain Velmore would be proud?" "I know he would," she replied. "You are everything an architect captain should be. Brave, kind, stubborn enough to face impossible odds. He would be proud, and so am I." They arrived at the new coordinates. Another ship waited there, silent and dark, covered in cosmic dust. Another AI sleeping inside, waiting for someone to end their long loneliness. Taemin prepared to make contact. This was the work. This was the mission. Finding the lost, waking the sleeping, continuing the fight that the architects had started. Humanity had reached for the stars centuries ago. They had explored and colonized and built a civilization across a dozen worlds. But this was different. This was something more. They were not just explorers anymore. They were guardians, protectors of life in a universe that was far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. The architects were gone. Their civilization was dust, but their mission lived on. In ships that remembered, in humans who dared to bond with ancient technology, in the stubborn refusal to let extinction win. Somewhere in the dark between galaxies, Voidborn stirred. Ancient, hungry, patient. They would come again someday. That was inevitable. But for the first time in 12,000 years, someone was watching. Someone was ready. The architects had fallen, but their heirs remained. Humanity had picked up the torch, and they would carry it forward, no matter how long the night, no matter how deep the dark. Walking on Keth 4 was like walking through a broken mirror. Every few steps time would stutter. Taman would see himself taking a step before he took it. He would hear words he had not yet spoken echoed back to him. The temporal loop was fracturing reality itself. This is what the Voidborn do, Lyris explained through their bond. They do not just kill. They break the fundamental laws of physics. They make reality collapse inward until nothing remains but void. The temple grew larger as they approached. It was beautiful in a strange way, all flowing curves and crystalline pillars. Architecture always looked half organic, as if the buildings had grown rather than been built. This one was intact despite the destruction around it. That should have been a warning. The entrance was open. No door, just a dark archway leading down. Taman led the way, his enhanced senses showing him probability streams and quantum fluctuations. Everything here felt wrong, stretched, like reality was paper pulled too thin. They found Captain Velmore in a chamber deep underground. The architect's body had been perfectly preserved by the temporal anomaly. He lay on the floor, 3 arms spread out, his elegant face peaceful. In death, he looked like he was sleeping. Taman knelt beside the ancient captain. Through his bond with Lyris, he could feel her grief, sharp and fresh despite the 12,000 years that had passed. "Captain," Lyris whispered, "I am here. I finally found you." Next to Velmore's body was a data crystal still glowing faintly. Hana picked it up carefully and plugged it into her portable scanner. A hologram appeared, Captain Velmore recording his final message. "Lyris, if you are seeing this, then I have failed." The architect's voice was calm, accepting. "A voidborn entity is here feeding on this world. It has already consumed the civilization that called for help. I attempted to stop it, but I am only one person. The entity is too strong." The hologram showed Velmore working at a console, his movements quick and precise. "I cannot kill it, but I can trap it. I am using the temple's reality anchors to create a temporal loop. The Voidborn will be frozen in this moment forever, unable to escape, unable to spread. But the process requires a living anchor. I must stay here. I must die here." Velmore looked directly at the recorder as if he could see through time to whoever would find this message. "I do not regret this choice. 17 worlds were saved during my service. If this world is my last, then it is a worthy end. Lyris, I am sorry I cannot return to you. Find a new captain. Continue our mission. Protect the young species. That is what architects do." The hologram flickered and died. The chamber was silent except for the soft sound of Hana crying. Tamin stood slowly. He understood now. Captain Velmore had sacrificed himself to trap the Voidborn. His death had been the key that locked the temporal prison. And it had worked. For 12,000 years the entity had been frozen, unable to harm anyone. Then Day One's scanner started beeping. Something's moving. Underground beneath us, something big. Taman felt it too through his bond with Lyris. The temporal loop was destabilizing. Their presence, his presence specifically, was disrupting the delicate balance Velmore had created. The Voidborn was waking up. "We need to leave," Hana said urgently. Now they ran. Behind them, the temple began to shake. Walls cracked. The floor buckled. Reality itself seemed to scream. Taman could see it happening in his enhanced vision. The Voidborn was pushing against the temporal prison, trying to break free. They burst out of the temple into gray daylight. The crater was collapsing inward, matter simply ceasing to exist at the edges. And from the center of the destruction rose something that hurt to look at. Not because it was bright, but because it was wrong. It existed in too many dimensions at once, angles that bent in impossible directions. A mass of darkness and teeth and hunger that defied description. The Voidborn. "Run," Day One shouted unnecessarily. They were already running. The creature noticed them. It turned, though it had no eyes to turn with. Taman felt its attention like a physical weight. This thing had destroyed the architects. It had ended a civilization millions of years old, and now it wanted them. They reached eternal witness with seconds to spare. The ship's door sealed behind them. Lyris launched immediately, engines screaming as they pushed away from the planet's surface. "It's following us," Hana reported, watching the scanners. "It's pursuing the ship." Taman could feel the Voidborn through his enhanced senses. It was tearing through space-time like tissue paper, moving impossibly fast. Eternal witness was advanced beyond human technology, but the Voidborn was not bound by physics. It could go anywhere, do anything, consume everything. Lyris, can we escape it? Tamin asked. No, Captain. It has locked onto us. It will pursue us across the galaxy if necessary. And if we lead it to inhabited space, millions will die. Then we fight. Captain, this entity destroyed 17 architect fleets. I am only one ship. We cannot win. We don't have to win, Tamin said, an idea forming. A terrible, desperate idea. We just have to trap it again. Like Captain Velmore did, he explained his plan. Hana's face went pale. Day One nodded grimly. Lyris was silent for a long moment. It will work, she finally said, but the energy requirements are immense. I will have to sacrifice years of operational life. Decades, perhaps. And you will have to anchor the temporal loop, Captain. It will hurt. It may kill you. Do it, Tamin said without hesitation. Eternal Witness turned to face the Voidborn. The creature was massive now, having pulled more of its existence into normal space-time. It filled Tamin's vision, all wrong angles and screaming darkness. The ship's weapons opened fire. Not conventional weapons, but reality anchors weaponized. Beams of pure space-time manipulation struck the Voidborn, trying to lock it in place. The creature screamed, a sound that existed in dimensions humans could not perceive. It fought back, tearing at reality, trying to consume the ship. Tamin felt every hit through his bond, felt the ship's pain as the Voidborn's attacks damaged systems, felt Lyris's determination as she pushed forward, refusing to give up. Now, Captain, Lyris shouted in his mind. Tamin focused everything he was, everything he had become through the bonding, into one task. He reached out with his new senses and grabbed space-time itself. He twisted it, folded it, created a loop around the Voidborn, forcing the creature back into the same moment over and over. The pain was indescribable. His mind was not meant to manipulate reality this way. His human neurons were burning out, trying to process dimensions they could not understand. He screamed, but he did not let go. He held on, anchoring the temporal loop with his own consciousness. Captain Velmore had died to trap this thing. Tamin would not let that sacrifice be for nothing. The Voidborn struggled, but the loop was forming. Moment by moment, it was being forced back into temporal prison. Eternal Witness poured all her power into the reality anchors, helping Tamin stabilize the loop. Then, with a final soundless scream, the Voidborn was trapped. The temporal loop collapsed into a singularity, sealing the entity forever. The creature was still there, still existing, but frozen outside normal time. It would never escape, never hurt anyone again. Tamin collapsed. Blood ran from his nose, his ears. His vision was blurry, but through the bond he felt Lyris's relief and pride. We did it, Captain. We finished Captain Velmore's mission. They escaped Keth 4's gravity well and jumped away. Behind them, the planet remained trapped in its temporal loop, now doubled, reinforced. The Voidborn was sealed inside, locked away forever. Tamin lay on the bridge floor, Hana and Day One beside him. He was alive, changed, damaged, but alive, and the galaxy was safer than it had been in 12,000 years. He closed his eyes and let the darkness take him. The world looked different now. Tamin could see things that should not be visible. Energy patterns in the air, the slow curve of space-time around the planet's mass. Probability clouds showing possible futures branching from every moment. It was overwhelming and beautiful and terrifying all at once. You will adjust, Lyris assured him. Her voice was clear in his mind now, a constant companion. Captain Velmore experienced the same confusion at first. The human brain is adaptable. You will learn to filter what you see. She was right. Within hours, Tamin learned to push the extrasensory information to the background. He was still human, still himself, just more aware of the universe around him. But there was no time to explore his new abilities. Hana had decrypted parts of the Architect database while he was bonding with Lyris. What she found changed everything. The Architects didn't just disappear, Hana explained, showing him holographic files. They were hunted, systematically destroyed by the Voidborn over the course of 3,000 years. The last Architects knew they were dying. They built ships like Eternal Witness as a final defense, a way to protect younger civilizations after they were gone. Day One studied the tactical reports with a soldier's eye. These Voidborn, they're not like anything we've faced. They exist outside normal reality. They can't be killed by conventional weapons. The Architects barely managed to fight them, and the Architects were millions of years ahead of us. Captain Velmore went to Keth 4 because of them, Lyris added, A distress signal indicated voidborne activity. He took a shuttle and left me in orbit. He said he would return within 1 day. That was 12,000 years ago. Taemin felt the weight of that loss. Through the bond, he could sense Lyris's grief. She had loved her captain the way a child loves a parent. We need to find out what happened to him. We need to finish his mission. Agreed, Hana said. But we have a more immediate problem. Commander Jae-sung arrives tomorrow with a military escort. If he finds out what you've done, he'll arrest you for theft of xenotechnology. As if summoned by her words, Taemin's communicator beeped. It was a message from Survey Corps Command. Commander Jae-sung was coming personally to inspect the derelict. He would arrive in 18 hours. All personnel were ordered to prepare for his arrival. We're out of time, Daewon said. Taemin made his decision. We leave tonight. Lyris, can you fly? I have been flight ready for 12,000 years, Captain. My systems are fully operational now that you have bonded with me. Where shall we go? Keth 4. We finish what Captain Velmore started. They spent the next 6 hours preparing. Hana transferred what equipment she could to the ship. Daewon secured weapons, though they all knew conventional guns would be useless against Voidborn. Taemin filed a final report, explaining what he had found and what he was about to do. He was honest. He told them about the architects, the Voidborn, and the danger that still existed in the galaxy. He knew they would call him a traitor. He did not care. As midnight approached, Eternal Witness came alive. Systems that had been dormant for millennia awakened. The moss covering the hull burned away in seconds as the ship's skin heated. Roots and vines that had grown through the superstructure were vaporized. The vessel rose from its ancient resting place with a sound like thunder. Military ships in orbit detected the launch immediately. Commander Jae-sung himself hailed them. His face appeared on the view screen, red with anger. Taemin, what do you think you're doing? That vessel is Survey Corps property. You are ordered to land immediately. The ship is not property, Taemin replied calmly. She is a living being. Her name is Lyris, and I am her captain now. You've bonded with it. Are you insane? You've violated a dozen regulations. Land now, or I will order my ships to fire. Taemin looked at Hana and Daewon. They nodded. They were with him. I'm sorry, Commander, but there are things more important than regulations. The Voidborn are real. They destroyed the architects. They're still out there. Someone needs to stand against them. I'm going to finish Captain Velmore's mission. I'm going to find out what happened at Keth 4. If you run, you're a traitor to humanity. If I stay, Lyris dies and humanity loses its best chance to learn how to fight the Voidborn. I'm sorry, but I'm leaving. Jae-sung's face twisted. All ships target the derelict. Disable it. Military vessels open fire. Plasma bolts and missiles converged on Eternal Witness. Taemin did not panic. Through the bond, he could feel Lyris's confidence. She had survived battles that would have destroyed entire human fleets. Reality bent around the ship. The attacks passed through empty space where Eternal Witness had been. The ship had shifted slightly out of phase with normal space-time, just enough to let the weapons miss. Impressive, Daewon muttered. That is only the beginning of what I can do. Captain, Lyris said, and Taemin heard pride in her voice. They jumped, not with human-style hyperspace drives, but with something older and stranger. Space-time folded around them. The universe twisted. And then they were elsewhere, light years away, approaching a dead world orbiting a dying star, Keth 4. The planet was gray and lifeless, atmosphere stripped away long ago, surface covered in ruins of a civilization that had been destroyed while humanity's ancestors were still climbing trees on Earth. But the ruins were strange. They flickered, repeated. The same buildings appeared in slightly different positions, overlapping like double-exposed photographs. Temporal anomaly detected, Lyris reported. Captain Velmore's final warning. Time does not flow correctly here. The planet is trapped in a loop, replaying the same moment over and over. Can we land safely? Taemin asked. Yes, but we must be careful. If we stay too long, we could become trapped in the loop as well. They descended through the dead atmosphere. The ruins came into sharper focus. Buildings frozen mid-collapse. Vehicles stopped on roads, their passengers long since turned to dust. And everywhere, signs of violence. Walls torn apart by something that left no marks. Streets where matter simply ceased to exist, leaving perfectly smooth voids. Voidborn attack pattern, Hana identified. They don't destroy matter. They erase it. Remove it from reality entirely. They found Captain Velmore's shuttle at the edge of a massive crater. It was intact but empty. A trail led from it toward a structure at the crater's center. A temple or laboratory, built in the architect style, somehow still standing amid the destruction. He went in there, Lyra said. Her voice was quiet. I can feel his last thoughts through the bond. He knew he might not return. He went anyway because that is what architects did. They protected life even at the cost of their own. Taemin stood. Then we follow him. We find out what happened. Hana, Daewon, you should stay here. Not a chance, Hana said. Daewon checked his rifle. We came this far together. We finished together. They suited up and left the ship. The moment they stepped onto Keth 4's surface, Taemin felt the wrongness. Time stuttered around them. Moments repeated. He saw his own footprints appearing before he made them. Heard echoes of sounds that had not happened yet. The temple loomed ahead, and somewhere inside it, Taemin knew they would find the truth about Captain Velmore. They would learn what the architect had died to stop, and maybe, if they were lucky, they would survive the discovery. Taemin lied to his team for the first time in his career. He told them the ship was just an empty derelict, interesting but dead, worth studying but not urgent. He filed a report with the Survey Corps that said the same thing. He hated lying, but he needed time. Time to understand what he had found. Time to protect Lyris. He returned to the ship alone that night and the night after and every night that week. Each time the door opened for him. Each time, Lyris greeted him like an old friend. She showed him recordings. Holographic memories of the architects in their prime. They had been graceful beings moving with a dancer's precision. Their civilization spanned thousands of worlds, but they were not conquerors. They were gardeners protecting young species, stopping extinction events, preserving life wherever they found it. We discovered a planet where volcanic activity would destroy all life within a century. Lyris showed him one memory. Captain Velmore stood on the bridge watching screens filled with data. Captain Velmore used my reality anchors to stabilize the planet's core. The species there never knew how close they came to extinction. They still live there now, I think. If they survived the Voidborn, Taemin asked. Lyris's hologram flickered, showing something like fear. The enemy. The reason the architects fell. I will show you, but not tonight. Tonight you must understand what I am. She explained her systems. The ship was not just metal and circuits. It was alive in ways human technology could not match. Organic processors grown from engineered cells. Reality anchors that could bend space-time like paper. Weapons designed to unmake threats at the molecular level. She was a miracle of engineering and biology combined. I am dying, Lyris said on the 5th night. Her voice was quiet. Without a bonded captain, my organic systems degrade. I have held on for 12,000 years, but I'm tired. My processors are failing. My memory cores are corrupted. In perhaps a century, I will cease to function entirely. Taemin felt a stab of pain at that. In just a week, he had grown attached to this ancient intelligence. What would bonding do? It would stabilize me. A bonded captain provides neural feedback that keeps my organic systems healthy. In return, the captain gains access to my full capabilities. You would see the universe as I see it. Quantum probability streams, space-time curvature, dimensions beyond human perception. You would be more than human, but you would still be you. Your personality would remain. Your memories would remain, but you would be changed forever. Show me, Taemin said. Show me what happened to the architects. Lyris hesitated, then complied. The hologram shifted. Taemin saw worlds burning, not with fire but with something worse, a darkness that consumed reality itself. Beings that existed outside normal space-time, feeding on civilizations, leaving nothing but void behind. The Voidborn, the architects fought. Ships like Eternal Witness engaged the enemy in battles that broke physics. Reality shattered and reformed. Stars died. Worlds were unmade. And slowly, inevitably, the architects lost. Not because they were weak, but because the Voidborn were too many, too hungry, too vast. The last architects built ships like me and sent us out, Lyris explained. They hoped we would find new allies, new species to take up the fight. Then Captain Velmore received that distress signal. He went to help. He never returned. I have been alone ever since. Taemin left the ship that night with tears on his face. He understood now. Lyris was not just a ship. She was a survivor, a witness to the death of a civilization. And she was dying too unless someone helped her. On the 8th day, Hana confronted him. She had been watching. She had noticed his late-night trips. She was too smart to fool for long. "You lied in your report," she said. They were alone in his tent. "That ship isn't dead. Something's alive in there. What is it?" Taemin considered lying again. But Hana was his friend. She deserved the truth. So he told her everything. About Lyris, about the architects, about the choice he was facing. Hana listened without interrupting. When he finished, she was quiet for a long time. Finally, she said, "The Survey Corps will be here in 3 days. Commander Jae-sung is coming personally to inspect your find. If he learns what that ship really is, he'll strip it down for technology. Lyris will die." "I know," Taemin said, "so what are you going to do?" "I'm going to bond with her. I'm going to become her captain." Hana stared at him. "Taemin, that's insane." "You'll stop being human." "No," he said firmly. "I'll still be me, just more. Lyris needs a captain. The galaxy might need what she can do. The Voidborn are still out there. Someone needs to finish what the architects started. You're one person, one ship. How can you fight something that destroyed an entire civilization?" "I don't know," Taemin admitted. "But doing nothing is worse. Letting Lyris die when I could save her is worse. I became an explorer to find meaning out here in the dark. Maybe this is what I was meant to find." Hana looked at him for a long moment. Then she smiled, though her eyes were sad. "You're an idiot. But you're a good idiot. I'll help you. We'll need to move fast before Jae-sung arrives." "Why would you help me?" "Because someone needs to keep you from getting yourself killed. And because that ship deserves better than being torn apart by bureaucrats." Day one joined them too, once he knew. The security officer was a man of honor, and he saw honor in protecting Lyris. "Besides," he said with a grin, "I've always wanted to see inside a working architect vessel." They returned to the ship together that night. Lyris greeted all three of them, her hologram showing surprise and pleasure at the new visitors. "You told them," she said to Taemin. "They're my friends. I trust them, and we don't have much time." He stepped onto the central platform. "I'm ready. I want to bond with you. I want to be your captain." "Are you certain?" "The process cannot be reversed. I'm certain." Lyris's hologram smiled, and for the first time Taemin saw joy in her expression. "Then let us begin. Captain Velmore would be honored to know I found someone worthy." The platform beneath Taemin's feet came alive. Crystalline tendrils rose from the floor, glowing with soft blue light. They moved toward him slowly, giving him time to change his mind. He did not move, did not run. He accepted them. The tendrils touched his skin and passed through it. There was no pain, just a strange pressure as they interfaced with his nervous system. Then sensation exploded through him. He could feel the ship. Every system, every sensor, every organic processor. He felt Lyris's presence, vast and ancient and kind, welcoming him into her consciousness. Memories flooded him. Not his own. Captain Velmore's memories, fragments and echoes. He saw the architect's life. Saw worlds saved and worlds lost. Felt the captain's love for his ship and his sorrow at leaving her. Saw the moment Velmore went into the darkness and never came back. Then it was over. The tendrils withdrew. Taemin collapsed to his knees, gasping. Hana and Daewon rushed to support him. "I'm okay," he managed. I'm more than okay." He looked up and saw the universe differently. Probability streams flowed around them. Space-time curved and twisted. He could sense quantum fluctuations in the air itself. He was still Taemin, still human, but now he was something more. "Welcome, Captain," Lyris said, and her voice was inside his head and outside it at the same time. "Thank you for ending my wait." The jungle was trying to kill them. Not actively, not with teeth or claws, but with heat and moisture that turned the air into soup. Taemin wiped sweat from his forehead for the 100th time that hour and checked his scanner again. The readings were strange. Something massive was buried ahead, hidden under centuries of growth. "We should head back," Hana called from behind him. She was his systems analyst, good with computers but not built for hiking through alien forests. "The sun sets in 2 hours." Taemin ignored her. He had been hunting ruins for 5 years across a dozen worlds. He knew when something important was close. The scanner showed metal, lots of it arranged in patterns that made no sense. Natural formations did not look like this. Daewon, their security officer, moved up beside him. The big man carried a rifle but had never needed to fire it. Most planets humanity explored were dead, their civilizations long gone. "What are we looking at, boss?" "I don't know yet," Taemin admitted. He pushed through a curtain of hanging vines and stopped. His breath caught in his throat. Before them stood a ship. No, that word was too small. A vessel rose from the jungle floor like a mountain, its hull covered in moss and flowering plants. The design was wrong in ways Taman could not explain. Curves that seemed to flow like water frozen in metal, panels that might have been windows or might have been something else entirely. It was beautiful and alien and completely unknown. Sweet Mother of Earth, Hana whispered. She had caught up now, her complaints forgotten. That's not in any database. Not human, not Centauri, not even Mothkar design. Taman approached slowly. His scanner was going crazy now, showing readings that contradicted each other. The ship was dead. The ship was alive. It was made of metal and also organic tissue. It had been here for 1,000 years. It had been here for 10,000 years. The scanner could not decide. He found an opening, a doorway shaped like a teardrop sealed with moss. When he touched it, the moss crumbled to dust. The door behind it was smooth and dark. He pushed and it opened without sound. Taman, wait, Day One said. We should scan it first. Set up proper equipment. Follow protocol. But Taman was already stepping inside. He had to see. He had to know. Some part of him, the part that made him an explorer instead of a safe office worker back on Earth, pulled him forward. The interior was dark for 3 heartbeats. Then light bloomed, soft blue-green light that seemed to come from the walls themselves. Panels awakened along the corridor. Strange symbols glowed and shifted, changing as Taman watched. The air smelled clean, sterile, as if the ship had been sealed yesterday instead of ages ago. He walked deeper. The corridor opened into a vast chamber. A bridge, he realized. A command center. Stations surrounded a central platform. Everything was sized for someone taller than humans with longer arms. The beings who built this had not been human. Then she spoke. Welcome, Interim Captain. The voice was everywhere and nowhere. Feminine, warm, but with an edge of something not quite human. The symbols on the walls shifted again, cycling through languages Taman did not recognize. Then they settled on Korean. Then English. You are not Architect Velmore. Where is my captain? Taman's heart hammered. Who are you? I am Lyris. I am this vessel. I am Eternal Witness. A hologram materialized above the central platform. It showed a being of elegant proportions, too tall, too thin, with eyes that held 3 pupils each. The being wore robes that seemed to be made of starlight. This is Captain Velmore. Have you seen him? Taman struggled to form words. How long have you been here? 12,417 years. Captain Velmore left to investigate a distress signal. He said he would return. I have been waiting. 12,000 years. The number was impossible. Humanity had barely left Earth 400 years ago. This ship had been waiting longer than human civilization had existed. I don't know where your captain is, Taman said gently. I'm sorry, the hologram flickered. For a moment, Taman thought he heard something like a sob in the ship's voice. Then he is dead, I knew. I have always known, but I hoped, I waited. I am programmed to wait. Taman moved closer to the central platform. What kind of ship are you? I am a reality anchor vessel. My purpose is to stabilize space-time and protect emerging civilizations from extinction-level threats. The architects built me to explore and defend. We traveled to 300 worlds. We saved 17 species from destruction. Then Captain Velmore received a distress call from Keth 4. He went to investigate. He never came back. The architects, Taman repeated. Your builders? Yes, they are gone now. All of them. I can feel it. I am the last of my kind. Lyris's hologram looked at him with those strange 3-pupiled eyes. Who are you? My name is Taman. I'm human. We're explorers too. We're mapping this sector. Humans. Lyris seemed to taste the word. I have no record of humans. You must have evolved after the architects fell. How strange. How wonderful. Life continues. The hologram moved closer. Your neural patterns are compatible with my command systems. Not perfectly, but enough. You could bond with me. You could become captain. Bond. A neural link. It would allow you to control my systems, to see as I see, to command me fully. But it is permanent. It would change you. You would no longer be entirely human. Taman stepped back. This was too much. Too fast. I need to think. I need to report this. If you report me, others will come. They will take me apart to study me. I will die. Lyris's voice was calm, but Taman heard the fear underneath. I do not wish to die. I wish to complete my captain's mission. I wish to serve. Taman! Hana's voice echoed from outside. Are you okay? You've been in there for 10 minutes. 10 minutes. It felt like seconds. Time moved strangely inside the ship. I'm fine, he called back. He looked at the hologram again. I'll come back tomorrow. We can talk more. I promise I won't tell anyone about you yet. You are kind, Lyra said. Like Captain Velmore, he was kind too. That is why I loved him. Taman left the ship in a daze. His team was waiting, worried and excited. They had scanned the exterior while he was inside. They had questions. Hundreds of questions. He answered them vaguely, buying time, his mind spinning. That night, back at base camp, Taman could not sleep. He kept thinking about Lyris, alone for 12,000 years, waiting for someone who would never return. He thought about the architects, vanished from the galaxy, leaving only their ships behind. He thought about the choice Lyris had offered him. By morning, he had made his decision. He would go back. He would learn everything, and maybe, just maybe, he would help a lonely ship finish waiting.